whenever you say 5K at 5%, that's a proper climb, and there's plenty on offer there. There's enough. There's all the ingredients to split the race up for puncheurs to get rid of the more pure sprinters in the race.
Heading to a tricky finish in Matera, and one final reminder as well, no 3, 4 or 5K rule here. It is considered an uphill finish by the organisers.
Well, that means, of course, that general classification contenders like Roglic, Ayuso, the Yates brothers and the rest are all going to be pushing all the way through to the finish. And even if someone has a crash or a puncture, it's almost a case of get a bike from a teammate or ride the flat tyre all the way in, whatever's going to be quicker, rather than stopping and waiting for team assistance. It's going to be a real scramble. It's going to cause a lot of nerves in the peloton and a lot more jostling for position at the front.
A group about to get back on here, including one of the riders from UAE. Looks like Baroncini. Steinhauser's going to return, as is Max Canter, actually. Good effort from him.
Getting close, but then for a sprinter to be making your return at the lower foothills of a 5K climb is a big ask.
Jan Tratnik as well, of course, a key figure for Primož Roglic. But when the road goes uphill, I mean, that team is stacked, isn't it? The likes of Martinez, Hindley, Aleotti, Pellizzari as well. Lower slopes of this climb that isn't classified.
The gradient just about to kick up too, through 16.5 to 16.3, gradients of 2 to 3%, but it very quickly becomes 5 and 6%. So it's going to get a lot harder. And you see in the peloton the shape of it at the front, a bit standoffish, nobody prepared to go just yet because of the lower gradients. You're providing a free ride for everybody else. But as it kicks up, expect to see the pace go up as well.
Fausto Masnada is the rider pulling there. That was Enzo Paleni towards the back. They're going to get back on. And the rider getting back on with them is, of course, yesterday's breakaway boy who went down in the end. He's got a multicoloured set of numbers because he won the combativity prize and he also won the Red Bull kilometre. So Fran Munoz is there. This is the Van Uden group. They were getting closer. I'm afraid they're not going to get any closer. They're at 1:46 now. Just over a minute, of course, that means from the Maglia Rosa group. Maglia Rosa group at 39 seconds. Interested to have a good look at it. We've not seen it for a little while, Sean, but I'd be interested to see if any team is going to put it up at the front. This is the Koi group in the meantime.
You know, guys, I think we're likely to see Trek try and take control, maybe UAE get aggressive. I think in the interest of Tom Pidcock and going for a stage victory, it'd be good to see some of the Q36.5 riders go to the front and even push a top 10 GC hopeful like Damien Howson towards the front to increase the pace, to really put the hurt on some of the fast men in the interest of Tom Pidcock. And they did, so they've got a surprise for us.
And here they are. Look at that, Sean. They're right through the centre.
Yes, well, they're just controlling at the moment, and I think they will just, hang around Pidcock, try and stay with him as long as possible. But I think Tom Pidcock will just try and follow here and wait for that, the very final, and see can he do something. I'd be surprised if Pidcock go himself. If there's moves, he will try and follow. Otherwise, he might just wait for the sprint. But again, it depends on how hard it's going to be, I think, and that will make the decision for a lot of riders. Now at this moment with 15k to go, you can be thinking, what you're going to do, but it can all change so suddenly with other teams, taking it up and, really messing up your thoughts and your tactics.
Lidl Trek then on the right hand side with Carlos Verona. Yet again, Jay Vine takes it up on the front. He looks like a man on a mission today. He's been there. In fact, no, it's not him this time. He sits just 2 wheels further back. But he's ready. Here you go. It's Baroncini who's been riding. You can just see Rafał Majka there as well. Maglia Rosa still on the back of Mars Pedersen. The white jersey belonging to Matthias Vacek. Gap starts to come down now, but it is UAE who decided to take this one up. It's suddenly strung out, it's stretched out, and it's game on.
Yeah, you can see the shape of that peloton change over that last 500 metres or so, all across the road, and now the pressure being applied by UAE. They saw the damage they were able to do on that last steep climb, and it's maybe given them that sort of motivation to go again on this one, do a little bit of damage, and then maybe Juan Ayuso, possibly Isaac Del Toro can take advantage of a lot of tired legs at the fast spin. And that's my thought with Tom Pidcock as well, that he's got that right mix of climber, but with a fast finish, that it's not the option to go long range for him today, but rather have the race made hard, and then he really comes into his own when everybody's really sapped of their strength.
It's not what these two wanted to see. The neutral service, race directors' cars, motorbikes, outriders, everybody passing them. They know they're about to be caught.
Well, I think they've been waiting for all day, because they knew very, very early in the day when they were out there, the advantage they were being allowed, it was always going to be difficult again. And you know, it's something we talked about in the early kilometres of this race. It's modern cycling. Even a small group of 3 riders, they never even get into a position with, you know, quite a number of minutes where you say they might be able to hold on. 30 kilometres to go, you know, they have X number of minutes. Will it be enough? It's going to be very, very tight, but it was never that situation as it has been in this race right from the beginning.
Shape of the peloton changes again as Bahrain return to the front. Now is Jay Vine, who sits there for UAE Team Emirates, but keeping his powder as dry as he can do, while still working to keep his team there. Sparren is the Q36.5 rider. You're looking at Pidcock, he's got his jersey half unzipped, the Red Bull helmet on, and of course in that white navy jersey belonging to his team. On the left, in the orange to black fade of Ineos, that's the experienced Castro Viejo. Alongside him, James Shaw, English rider with the white jersey and pink helmet on, looking after Richard Carapaz. Him in his heyday, when he was winning the Giro, this was a sort of finish he'd lap on.
Yeah, the sort of finish required to have a lot of punch to get the advantage, and Carapaz has done that before. He's been proved very hard to catch in finishes like this, where he has that explosive power. He takes off, creates a gap, and somebody has to come out and get him. And I think on one occasion it was Caleb Ewan had to chase him really, really hard out of a Group 1 day a couple of years ago in the Giro to get the win. But Ineos, very well organised over there on the right-hand side of the picture. We saw that yesterday as well. Josh Tarling piloting Egan Bernal, and in the end, Ben Turner having a very good finish for him as not really a pure sprinter by any means, or a classic style rider, and finishing in the top 10.
Bernal just sitting on the opposite side of the train, we can see on the right. Bernal is just on the left as we look at it. He has Brandon Rivera, his good friend from Colombia, looking after him. We go to the top of the hill. Once they get there, they'll dive down again very quickly. And then we'll head closer into Matera. But just take a look at this. A live film set nowadays, but of course, ancient dwellings there, cut into the rock. The Sassi, the caves, 20,000 people were forcibly moved out of those caves in the 1950s because the conditions were so squalid. They were written about, they were talked about. Of course, it was something that in this modern era could not be permitted. Thankfully, those people were taken out of those conditions, and this is how the town is now. It's now considered to be one of the most beautiful places in Italy. It's never the most beautiful place when you're brought back from a breakaway, though. And the peloton now take on the front of the race. It's Asparren there at the front. Also there with him is Jay Vine. And that was a job well done for those two, even though I'm afraid that most of the prizes went to Josué Epis today.
Yeah, he was a bit of a glutton out there, really, to be honest. But you know, that's the thing. You get in a breakaway, you've done just as much as the others, and you've got every right to go and try and take all the prizes on offer.
Well, they will listen to you, Robbie, because they bullied him out of the breakaway later on. You were probably in your coffee break and you were saying, yeah, he's taking all the prize money here. They should start to walk him over. And they did walk him over to get rid of him out of the front end of the race.
Well, they realised too late what they needed to do. The prizes were already gone.
Now the prize up for grabs here is a stage win. Will we have a change of the Maglia Rosa as well? Because remember, the gaps are tied. It's 7 seconds from Maspersen to Primož Roglic. Tomorrow, we'll talk about this more tomorrow, but tomorrow there's extra responsibility for everyone who has the pink jersey, by the way. You'll be on a trip to an aircraft carrier out in the Bay of Naples to meet ministers, politicians and Navy captains. That is for the Maglia Rosa. And I'm not sure if you want to win the GC, you want to be spending your Thursday evening doing that. We shall see, because after that, that's one of the biggest transfers of the Giro d'Italia to the start of the next day. We'll park that and leave it for tomorrow, because today, this is where we're heading, to Matera. It is stunningly beautiful now. hasn't always been that way. You'll have seen it in James Bond films. You'll have seen it in The Passion of the Christ. Today, you're going to see it yet again on the Giro d'Italia. And well, passion, racing with passion. A former man who was wholly decked out in pink, Richard Carapaz, is being brought to the front. You can see too that Isaac del Toro is not far from the front either. Matthias Vacek hovering in and around the Maglia Rosa. He's got the white jersey on. On the left-hand side, Formulo moving up. Rubio is not too far behind. Jefferson Cepeda's there. Look out too for Luis Aular, 2 third-place finishes for the Venezuelan. We're about to dive down and head back up into town. Sean, it's getting spicy.
Yes, it is getting spicy, and we're coming to the vital point of this stage now, the final 12 kilometres here, and we can see the way the peloton is starting to stretch out. That tells the pace here. When you look at the front, you look at Jay Vine, the way he's riding here, it doesn't look like to be pushing at all, but when you look back, they are setting a really strong pace, and that just shows the talented riders, the teams with numbers that they can do that. Well, they just really stretch out the peloton, and you can see here there's a lot of gaps starting to appear, and there's going to be more of that.
It's a solid tempo, but to be honest, I expected it to be more than that. I expected those who don't really pack a big sprint to put a bit more into this, to try and put some of the sprinters in trouble. Lidl Trek have not come to the front setting the pace for Mads Pedersen, as we saw on stage 1. UAE have taken care of that, but they haven't done enough. Mads Pedersen is still around that corner in the top 10.
The twists and the turns are going to make things worse, and it's going to be as well as keeping up with the gradient, as we can see here, Sean. It's going to be about those lefts and rights and making sure you have the positioning right, just like racing the classics almost.
Yes, well, position is going to be of hyper importance here, and that's where you have got to be in the top 25 riders. And I think UAE, what's the plan here? Are they just riding to keep all their men in a good position, not to take any risk and get caught behind crashes or gaps appearing, or are they going to try something when it gets to the point where the most difficult part now in the run-in? That is the question. And Mads Pedersen is just following. I think they're probably happy enough with this pace, because it's not super fast pace, as Robbie has just mentioned, but again, it's a wearing down process.
Rafael Micah there was just further back looking around for one of his leaders. I can't know which one it was, but he's just gone to sit now on the wheel of Brandon McNulty. Second wheel is Isaac del Toro. He's the man who's closest to the general classification lead in that team.
I'm expecting a push towards the front now from GC Contenders. There's a very fast and fairly tricky descent coming up from 10 kilometres to go. They dive down, and this downhill is, let's see, it's about 2.7 kilometres downhill, sort of out and back away from the city centre. And I'm sure that UAE, they're doing this because they want to lead this descent.
Caruso is up here sitting on the wheel of Vacek. The Maglia Rosa is quite a bit further back in about 20th position. Also well placed is Romain Bardet, a bit further back in around 10th, 15th position. You can see Egan Bernal. Before him is Roglic with a few teammates as well. And we're inside the final 10Ks.
We can see Nero there. He's starting to appear, and will it be something that he might try and have a go? But the team of Movistar, they have quite a few riders there that can do something in this final.
Uluis Ornar, when we were looking at our picks for our breakaway predictor, I really hesitated between Orlar and Tom Pidcock. I'd written down Orlar, changed it, submitted Pidcock. I think they're both good picks, but Orlar with the 2 third places already in this Giro, and the pace they rode at that climb, he'll still be in pretty good shape, and I really do expect him to be one of the big challenges at the finish.
Here we are on the modern side of Madeira, the modern town that was built in the 50s that we talked about before. Here we are in 2025 with a modern team, the top modern team at the front. Again, Micah keeps looking behind. He's in 4th wheel, and he's looking for leaders. I don't know which one he's looking for.
Well, he has to be looking for the main man, I think we would be thinking here, because they have a lot of riders capable of doing something in this race. But the Spanish rider
Juan
Ayuso, I think he's the one he's looking around, and we did see Micah doing that already in this race. Like, he has vast experience, and he's just looking around to see is he going to make his way up, because if you go back and get him, well then the effort you have to make to get him back up there. Maybe stay up and leave him come up with 7, then start protecting him and keep him in a good position.
Just been told to take that corner with caution, 73 k's an hour, because you've got the traffic islands in there as well. They bank left, they'll go right inside the final 8 kilometres now. The pace is still up, they're getting the downhill speed. It's UAE team Emirates who are at the front. It's fine, and it's still Toro. Then you've got Vatsek leaving the speed. Just behind, moving up as well, is Pidcock.
Well,
So about 5th or 6th position there.
Yeah, enjoying the fast downhill, the sweeping bends, and without even making any extra effort, just cruising his way to the front. Not time to go yet, 7.5 kilometres to go, and I don't really honestly think it's a long range sort of type of finish for him to try and take advantage of. Maybe that 10% kicker around 2 kilometres to go, but I think Pidcock will be backing himself to really challenge in the sprint, but they did say he has a surprise for us.
He's ready and he's waiting. He sits on the wheel of Vatsek. Looking behind the Malyaros, there's a long way back here.
A bit of time to consolidate now over the next few kilometres. Another sort of 3k until we get towards the bottom of that final kicker. So not overly technical. It's a big sort of arc around the base of the town, a little bit more climbing to go, and it's generally up with that one steep ramp. But yeah, this is the moment to then move yourself, regather, get organised again as a team.
There's Ayuso right at the back here. Juan Ayuso's at the back, but where's Adam Yates? Only panning all the way down there, he was the only other UAE rider you could see in the shot.
Groves.
Now there's more. Yeah, sorry. Now there's more right at the back. Adam Yates is right at the back.
Well, Adam Yates does tend to sort of sit a little bit further back and not panic, just cruise in right amongst the wheels, and doesn't get as nervous about, maybe little gaps opening up and wasting all that nervous energy and extra power. Corbin Strong being brought forward. Groves is up, as I just said as well. Mads Pedersen. This is panning out well for the fast men who remain. The pace was strong, but not too much on that last climb. Now it's just managing the resources, managing your efforts, knowing when to slide and when to push forwards.
6 kilometres to go. On the bottom right hand side of your picture, you're seeing what will happen in the final 3 kilometres. That's where it goes steep, double digits for a good almost a kilometre. It's 7% average, then it's downhill again, and then it rises up and down. But it's the lefts and the rights, the speed killers, that aren't going to be so good later on. Bernal moved up on the left hand side. Lidl Trek come together as a team to look after the Malyarosa yet again. Now Ayuso's moved up into the centre. He's in about 15th wheel, 2 or 3 wheels back from Primož Roglic. And here comes Simon Yates on the left-hand side in the yellow jersey as well. Wout van Aert's up there too, following.
Yes, well, it's time to get into a position that you need to be in. If you're not where you like to be, you have to move here. And we could see there Tiberi as well, Caruso starting to move him up, and a lot of movement on the front of the peloton, trying to keep your position, and riders wanting to move up. And it's all about now being in the position, the top 15 places, and have a number of teammates in front of you. That's the perfect place to be.
Wout van Aert just right in the centre of the picture. He's wearing that yellow jersey, but of course has a different helmet on, given his personal sponsor. Adam Yates is further back, but it's Simon Yates here in the yellow jersey of Visma, who moves to join the Van Aert train. 5Ks to go now, Robbie.
Oh, Van Aert being piloted well towards the front, and he'll like this type of finish much more than the flat, hectic ones with all the sprinters around. Yesterday, very disappointed with himself that he wasn't able to assist Olaf Koy and Pio Bilbao going out the back, but we've seen that early in this Giro, just getting dropped, losing time, setting himself up for breakaways on other days, so no panic for them. But Van Aert now just in front of his teammates at this point. I don't think they're going to be riding for anybody else, but Van Aert I would expect to be the one to go for it, but he's been a little under the weather in the lead into this race, and despite getting second on day one, he suffered on the other days, coughing and spluttering after the time trial, and not amongst it on day 3.
Sean, the only two riders who were with him were Barrett Lemon and Simon Yates.
Yes, well, it looks like that maybe they're just keeping Yates in the position.
That's that.
That's that. So they're under the weather, not really feeling it, so done as much as he feels he can do, and swung off, which is a disappointment for Wout van Aert fans.
Pace is up though now with Ineos putting it on the front, and that's the big news. Sean, you called it there. He was doing his job for the team, and here's the proof. Wout van Aert dropped 4Ks to go.
Yes, well, I think we've seen Wout van Aert in this race. He's just not at that level yet, and hopefully it will get better as the race go on. But yeah, we can see here, it's now a bit of a time, 4K to go. Everybody is really, getting into panic situation. Lemon, we can see in the front there. We can see Yates just a bit further down, so he's in the perfect position at the right moment. And that is something as well. Experience is important. You can sit a bit off if you're feeling good. You know the terrain, and you just move at the right moment and get yourself into the position where you need to be.
They're about to dive down into the steepest section remaining now, Rob. It'll go double digits here. It's Lemon at the front, just on his wheel in the white. It's Vacek, the best young rider. His teammate is the pink jersey, the race leader, winner of 2 stages so far out of the 4, Mads Pedersen of Denmark, who this morning announced that he had signed for life with his Lidl Trek team. Can he deliver another life-changing win and add to his Grand Tour palmarès? Let's see.
You would not bet against the man in pink. He got it wrong yesterday, and things came undone for them with the loss of Søren Kragh Andersen, the lead-out man on the flat days for Mads Pedersen. But he looks totally in control at the moment, but he's now just going to have to surf the wheels a little bit himself. Still got Vacek there. They've got another couple of 100 metres slightly downhill fast into the bottom of this final ramp gradient, up to 10%. Groves being brought forward. He's on the left-hand side, number 11 as well. His other teammates, completely opposite side of the peloton, swing around to the right, and this is where the gradient increases.
Sean, it's Giovanni Aleotti who's put Primož Roglic in a prime position to start the climb here. Aleotti looks around for Red Bull Bora Hansgrohe, and it's going to be Primož Roglic now, who perhaps is going to take over. Let's have a look. Roglic does go here. Now, this is a turn up for the books. It could turn into a GC day. Roglic at the front, and maybe on course to string this out even more. Are we going to get a Roglification in Matera?
Well, he's certainly in tension here with the way he's pushing on, and we could see there, he made a big effort to get to the front, but not continuing here for the moment. He probably wants to stretch it out a bit, not to have other riders just coming up and pushing and crowding him out a bit, so make a bit of a selection and make everybody else.
Attack on the right hand side here from UAE Team Emirates. In fact, it's closing the gap to Vacek from Isaac del Toro, and Vacek, of course, in that white jersey. Simon Yates beautifully positioned. He's there in the yellow jersey. Roglic has just got to sit a little further back now. Egan Bernal up there in 4th wheel as well, his Colombian champions jersey. The Maglia Rosa slipping, the Maglia Rosa sliding. It's Vacek who's up there, and you can just see the pink jersey at the saddle. He's fighting to hold every wheel here with 2Ks to go.
Yeah, Pedersen is fighting, but he just chose that moment of the steepest gradient just to let himself lose a bit of ground, slide back, not go too deep in the red, but he's still going backwards, the pink jersey. So the struggle is real. His teammate is setting the pace on the front, and Mads Pedersen is being shuffled backwards. All the GC favourites now at the front: Bernal, Roglic, Carapaz, Yates, Ayuso, they're all there. That shows you how hard this course has been. 1.8 to go.
Caruso. Damiano Caruso attacks, wanting one final salute, one final moment at the Giro d'Italia. This could be his last one. Can he get away at the minute Vacek says no? He's going to close the gap. Sean, the hardest part of the climb is out the way, but it goes uphill again to the line.
Yes, well, Vacek, he is going to be made aware that Pedersen is in difficulty and knock it off a bit, but he seems to be controlling here. But again, very impressive on that climb. So he's the one we talked about also for this run into the finish. If Pedersen is not able to get back in here, which it looks like he's coming back at the moment, we can see there, but Vacek seems to be the strongest one.
He's having to control a lot here. We just seen Movistar go to the front as well. He thought about turning and closing to the line. There's a look around now to see if they can set it up. Movistar looking back to see where their men are. It's now Vacek who tries to control. Fiorelli's not too far behind. 1 kilometre to go in Matera at the end of stage 5 of the Giro d'Italia. Here come Alpecin, and the man who's there right on the front and working looks like Edward Plankett.
Pedersen on the left-hand side in pink, now moving his way forward. Pidcock up through the centre, behind Romain Bardet and Michael Storer, coming towards that final bend around to the left. First to right, then it's going to be back to the left. Pedersen now straight into 3rd wheel with Vacek. He's back.
The speed is cut off, and look at Picnic Postinel trying to make it 2 out of 2. Vacek is there. Pedersen has regained the position with 550 metres to go. We're in beautiful, glorious Matera, the scene for many film sets, and we're going to have a blockbuster finish. It's a reduced bunch as Roglic moves up as well. Balde and Poole are still there for Picnic Postinel. Final few hundred metres. Now they go, they'll turn once more. It's Vacek who's got the perfect position again. Keep your eyes on the Movistar man as well, on Luis Aular, who's ready to go. Pidcock on the right as well, but it's the man in pink who goes. He's looking for a hat-trick. It's Mars Pedersen who's strong. He's staying strong. He put pen to paper on a new deal, but it's Mars Pedersen going all the way. Pidcock tries to get around. Pedersen still showing strength. It's Herculean this to the line. Mars Pedersen there. Coming around on the far side though, making it a photo finish, was a rider from Bahrain. Could be
Govekar, I think it was. In fact, no, it's Zambanini.
Zambanini, but it looks as though, as the cameras surround Mars Pedersen, that he's managed to hang on.
Yes, it looked like he just holds on there. Pidcock, he made the move to try and get by him, but just wasn't able to come by the powerful sprint of Mats Pedersen, and we could see Zambini just coming.
And he's asked the question. He gets the answer. Thumbs up. There it is. It's a hat-trick for Mars Pedersen. And that, as I said in the run-in, was absolutely Herculean. Hard lines to Zambanini because he shocked us all there. But Mars Pedersen wins, and it is a third victory.
Well, Pidcock tried, Zambanini finished fast, but Pedersen, that is also a win of patience, gaze.